Does CrossFit or sitting have a higher risk of injury? CrossFit has been demonized as an injury-ridden sport that throws form out the window for the sake of sweat and intensity. But at the same time, we are seeing a massive rise in injuries among sedentary office workers. So why is everyone being told to stop CrossFit or other forms of exercise due to risk of injury, but not sitting? Because there's a huge misunderstanding between exercise and back injuries. This leads us to the question, what puts you at a higher risk of injury? CrossFit or sitting? I'm going to break this down in today's episode number 158 of the Low Back Pain Podcast. So first, let's go over the injury stats for CrossFit. When analyzing the injury rates in particular sports or activities, this is typically calculated as the number of injuries per 1,000 hours of training or participation. The injury rate in CrossFit was found to be 2.1 to 3.1 per 1,000 hours trained. Up to 40% of the total injuries were shoulder related, while 13 to 36% of total injuries were lower back related. But how does this compare to other weightlifting regimens? The strength sport with the highest number of injuries is the Highland Games, coming in at 7.5, Strongman coming in at 5.5, then beneath that is CrossFit, beneath that is powerlifting at around 1 injury per 1,000 hours, and the lowest is actually bodybuilding at 0.24 to 1 injury per 1,000 hours trained. So it's not the best, it's not the worst, but CrossFit has this connotation that everything is so intense and there's no form and everybody's getting injured all the time. And so there's this preconceived notion that this is harmful to your body or bad for your back. And everyone's being told, stop CrossFit, is bad for your back. That's why you hurt your back. That's why you should stop, and you should just stop exercising, and everything's bad for your back. Now, how does all this compare to sitting? More and more people are becoming aware that sitting is not a great thing, that they know that sitting for long periods aggravates their back and probably isn't good for their posture or many other things. However, rest as a whole, non-activity, is seen as a safe thing. In fact, many individuals with lower back issues are told every day, stop exercising, rest. You need to rest your back. You need to rest your muscles. The reason for your pain is because you're not resting. If anybody suffers an ongoing lower back issue, the advice is typically you need to rest more. Stop exercising, stop doing this, stop stressing your back, right? That's what we hear. But how do the overall numbers of injury now compare to sitting? So the lower back injury rate for CrossFit was 13 to 36% of all injury. However, 23 to 38% of all sedentary office workers will experience a lower back injury. So what does this tell us? It tells us that the rates of lower back injuries in sitting sedentary office workers is higher than CrossFit athletes. That is crazy. Mind blown. But how could this be? How could this be possible that something as, aggressive and intense as CrossFit could be safer than sitting? How is this possible? Here's the breakdown. The two key principles to understanding why this is possible is 1, that movement is medicine, and 2, that our body is incredibly adaptable. Any type of exercise your body can adapt to. And even though some individuals see CrossFit as this intense, aggressive form of exercise, your body can adapt to that too. Many doctors will say that weightlifting compresses your discs and should be avoided. But the evidence shows that weightlifting does not negatively impact your discs or lead to degeneration when compared to non-lifters. Even activities like running, something that a lot of people are told is bad for your knees or bad for your back, has been shown to provide 0 negative impact on your lumbar spine health, but actually provide greater disc height and strength when compared to inactive individuals. So we know that our body likes load, it likes activity, and even your low back likes this activity too, because it makes it healthy. Hey, real quick, if you're watching this video and you're resonating with the things that I'm saying and you're ready to be pain-free, just click the link below and you can schedule a call personally with my team so we can meet with you, go over your current situation and figure out what you're missing and help you develop a game plan so that you can finally become pain-free. This is for serious people only, so click the link if you are ready to go. Back to the show. So with CrossFit, you're getting movement, you're getting exercise, you're stressing your joints, you're stressing your cardiovascular system, you're stressing your back, things you want to do to build adaptive resilience in these areas. So you're getting movement and progressive adaptation to force. But with sitting, you're getting the opposite. You are getting no movement. Your cardiovascular system is not being used. Your muscles are not being used. Your joints are not being used. And your body is doing the opposite of adapting. It is deconditioning. It is de-adapting. And we see based on all the evidence that lack of movement and lack of load on your back are the greatest risk of injury. So not using your body, avoiding stressing your back, focusing on rest and prolonged periods of rest and avoiding exercise is a key component to injury. It's a key component it to chronic back pain and developing fear avoidance behaviors that are going to further avoid exercise. Maybe it's something you used to love, is only going to decondition you further. So how can we do both of these things better? How can we reduce the risk of injury in both CrossFit and sitting? Well, here's how. Although our body is incredibly adaptable, anything done too quickly or in an improper way can result in injury. So the best way, the one thing that you could focus on the most if you are wanting to introduce yourself to CrossFit or any form of exercise is load management. I'll break this down very simply. Load management is essentially slowly increasing the total load, the total volume of the weight and intensity and duration that you are performing in any given activity, slowly and progressively over time to give your body the opportunity to adapt. Many injuries result of doing too much too fast after doing too little for too long. So if you slowly expose yourself to any given exercise or movement, then your body has a chance to adapt to it and your risk of injury goes down. Now with sitting, I think the answer is very obvious here that if you are an office worker, which most people are just sitting all day at their computers, myself included, the best way to reduce your risk of injury is to build in movement into your day. I'm not telling you that you have to become a CrossFitter to reduce your back injury or any form of aggressive exercise for that matter. Of course, I encourage you to do so. But let's say you can't do that for whatever reason. You don't want to be as healthy as possible, but you got to do something about your back, okay? Introduce movement into your day. There was an amazing study that showed a simple movement break every 15 minutes immediately improved the hydration of your discs at the end of the day. And this is something as simple as standing up and bending forward for 5 seconds, bending backwards for 5 seconds, bending side to side for 5 seconds. Something that simple improved your disc height and health by the end of the day. So frequent walking breaks at work is important. And of course, adapting a quick movement routine, we call them movement snacks, throughout the day so you can get movement opportunities, get your body moving, and activate some muscles and free up some joints throughout your day is going to be the best thing you can do to be an office worker, to be a sedentary office worker, but to give your body the movement that it needs throughout the day to avoid that lower back injury that's on the way. Ultimately, there is no exercise more dangerous than not exercising. And the best way to prevent a low back injury is to stress and move your back. And the real risk of injury is not using your back or resting it for prolonged periods of time. Now, there are some individuals who are watching this video right now who are saying, I know, Grant, I know I need to exercise, and I was a CrossFit athlete, and I was moving and active, but I'm trying to get back into these things, but I can't. I can't because my back flares up or my leg flares up every time I try to get back into that exercise. And I hear you. I'm not expecting you to just jump back in there. If you have a lower back issue, a disc issue, a nerve issue that's holding you back from getting back in there and doing the things that you love, but you don't know what to do except for rest, then you are the person that I'm talking to. You are the person who needs the plan. And thousands have successfully returned, and thousands have 100% returned to CrossFit or other forms of activity through our centralization process, which teaches you the exact movements that you need to do to address the root issue. So instead of just avoiding what causes pain, you're actually addressing what's causing the pain. So then you don't have to avoid what used to trigger it. You don't have to avoid CrossFit. You don't have to avoid running. You don't have to avoid bending over to pick things off the ground or tie your shoes. You don't have to avoid anything in your life. So it's crucial to understand that you don't want to go through your life avoiding things that trigger it. And you need to get back to exercise because that's what's going to help you live longer and healthier, is exercising, living an exercise-based life. But if you can't do that because your low back pain is the gatekeeper, then we need to address that. And we can do that with you as a team by helping you identify the exact movements you need to do for your condition at the right time, at the right dosage, with the right prescriptions along the way to give you fast results so you can get back to living your life the way that it was intended. So book a call with my team so we can show you how the centralization process looks for you so that you can see how your plan could look today. Once again, be sure to join my Facebook group, Rehab Fix Low Back Program, so you can get additional exclusive content and our free sciatica guide immediately upon joining. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you are listening on your favorite podcast platform, please leave a 5-star rating and review so we can grow this podcast and help reach more individuals who deserve to get results, who feel like they're spinning their tires and getting frustrated in doing so. As always, move more, move in nature, move in the sun. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.